And now for a review of what's making the headlines in the papers this morning, let's bring in a RISE analyst, Dr. Constance Ikoko, who joins us from our Lagos studio. Good morning,
Charles. And Yolanda and Kechia, I hope you've registered for your swimming classes.
I can swim, Dr. Ikoko, but great report.
That's a good one. We miss you in Abuja. You should come back soon.
Thank you. I miss you guys too. I'll be back soon, and I'll be on you for that swimming, okay?
All right.
Okay, we have to get going. To look at the papers with us today, we have Doyum Nazinga. He is the Abuja Bureau Chief and Head Northern Operations of the Daily Times. Hello there and welcome to the program. We begin with This Day. This Day leads with Keyamo Inaugurates Enugu Air, says Mbah undoubtedly one of the best governors. That story is also reported in the Guardian newspaper, if we can pull that up. There it leads with the headline, Keyamo Inaugurates Enugu Air as Mbah vows improved air travel. Also in New Telegraph, and if you go back to This Day, there are photos of that inauguration and the aviation minister describing Governor Mbah as one of the top performing governors in Nigeria today. I mean, different states have been floating airlines. We have the Ibom Air, Kali Air, now Enugu Air. Governor Mbah has had a good record so far as a performing governor. What's a bit different with this is that the state has also launched a tourism drive. There are different packages of places to visit when you fly Enugu Air. And this is quite remarkable, isn't it, Doyum? Tourism, you know, they're getting on it now.
Yeah, fine, great. Governor Peter Mbah of Enugu State is really doing a great job. I think the president's visits, Enugu State is the first state that the president visited in the southeast. I think his first off-station assignment or official or state visit was in Enugu State. And then there were projects, really good projects that have a direct impact on the lives of the Enugu people that the president commissioned. That's some 2-3 months ago, I guess. And not long ago, the Enugu Air came up. And so the statement credited to Keyamo as describing Governor Peter Mbah as one of the most performing or the best or outstanding governors is actually very true. I can relate because in the just concluded editors conference in Enugu also, you know, gave us a first-hand opportunity to assess the performance of the governor and to see exactly what he has or he is turning the state into. It's great that beyond the regular dependence on what comes from the federation account, states are looking inward to think of how they can, you know, make up their own resources and develop their own, harness their potentials to develop their own states. So apart from the Enugu Air that has just been launched, the direction the governor is also looking towards, I mean, harnessing the potentials in the tourism space are all very instructive. That point us to the fact that we have a governor in place who really knows his onions, like they say. So it's kudos to him, and Keyamo is not out of place. And as somebody who has really tried for the aviation sector, he's very passionate about any development in the space or in the aviation space that would bring about a transformation in the aviation sector. So for him to have come out to make such, I mean, to eulogize the governor of Enugu State in such a manner, it simply means that he has somebody who can relate with his vision for the aviation space. And we do hope that it's sustainable, and which has been the challenge of managing state-owned enterprises in Nigeria. Yeah, other states have done it. Ibom Air has done it, and Akwa Ibom State with Ibom Air, Cross River with Kali, and now Enugu State. So let's see how these are all sustainable, how they are all going to remain continue to grow and impact the lives of Nigerians. Yeah.
Good points, Doyum. Let's see the Daily Times. NLC threatens showdown over Osun LG fund diversion. The Nigerian Labour Congress accused the federal government, the Attorney General of the Federation, and the Central Bank of Nigeria of unlawfully withholding funds meant for elected councils in the state. They say this is a gross violation of the Constitution and an assault on grassroots governance. This issue has been bubbling for a while, and now it has come to the front burner. Doyum, your paper reported this. What more can you tell us about it, and how do you think it all ends? Very quickly.
Yeah, the situation in Osun State is it's one that has continued to draw a lot of attention. There are several colorations to it because the government in power, the state is a PDP-controlled state, and then we have a government run by the APC at the center. Now, there are thinking, or others are of the view, that these whole political colorations given to the situation or the crisis within Osun State, with the local government, it started from the elections, and the elections were conducted and all of those. And now, again, there are allocations, statutory allocations meant for the local governments are being withheld. Where the Labour Congress, Nigerian Labour Congress, would always make a very strong position on issues. What worries me is whether they are taken seriously or not. Let's wait to see how the shutdown goes, and if they would actually act their threats. And let's also see, because it's truly an infringement on the fundamental human rights or the constitutionality and a threat to democracy, like it has been alleged by the NLC. And pundits of the view that if this is not checked, we will gradually be gravitating towards a state of anarchy, where the powers that be arbitrarily determines what happens without recourse to constitutional provisions and all of those. It's unfortunate that the players that have been alleged to have been behind this are no small players within the governance space. The CBN, Governor, and the Attorney General of the Federation. There has been an appeal court ruling which also supported the position advanced by the Labour Congress. So what we don't understand is whether we have a society or a country or a government who doesn't respect court pronouncements. Let's wait to see how it comes out.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
It's interesting this is happening under President Bola Tinubu, because when he was governor of Lagos State, there were similar issues and he fought it till the end. So like you said, let's see how this all pans out. Let's move on to Leadership newspaper. We have two monarch stories there. First, Tinubu Sultan, Emir of Ilorin, mourn as Olubadon dies at 90. It's also reported in the Punch, but there is a successor. At the top right-hand corner, Ladoja nests in line as tributes flow for late Olubadon. Ladoja is a former governor of the state. So the second story from Leadership is from Kano State. My palace gate breached by Bayero supporters, according to Emir Sanusi. This pertains to the emirship tussle in that state. The police and Bayero are mum about this. Charles, your quick thought on these two stories?
About the situation in Kano State, that confusion is bound to linger for a while, because the controversy between the legitimacy of Emir Sanusi and the initial purport, the initial heir to the Kano State throne, Ado Bayero. You know, he was supposed to have succeeded his father, but then somehow political forces played to upstage him, and then Sanusi came in. And then the next thing they did was to break up the Kano State Emirates into 4 different parts. Sanusi went on exile. So the confusion still lingers. You know, after the death of Emir Ado Bayero, it's one form of confusion to the other. So this is a situation that would actually need either very careful handling or very firm handling. Otherwise, the people of Kano would remain confused as to who the custodian of their culture and tradition is. Having said that, the Olubadon, I think the past 4 Olubadons have not really stayed on the throne long. Oba Saliu Akomo Adetunji 2016 to 2022, that was 6 years. 2022 to 2024, Oba Lekon Balogun, and then Owolabi Olakunleyin dying at the ripe old age of 90, having been on the throne for just a year. Well, when the election was going on, or should I say the selection was happening, I wonder what the kingmakers were thinking, because the man was already advanced in age. So it stood to reason that he wasn't going to stay on the throne for that long. The last time an Olubadon stayed for a reasonable period was when Odunlano Odugade I, 2007 to 2016, 9 years. So I think going forward, even as the Olubadon rests in peace, when the next Lord of Ibadan is being selected, longevity should also be taken into consideration. Maybe much like the situation in Ijebu land.
I doubt if that would be the case, because if you're supposed to be on the throne, even if you're 90, then you have to be on the throne. I think it goes with tradition and culture and succession plans. So anyway, let's look at the Vanguard newspaper. Nigeria's export drive in danger as Trump plans 10% tariff against BRICS. That also features in New Telegraph as the lead story. Nigeria at risk over Trump's proposed extra 10% tariff against BRICS nations. Remember that President Trump had threatened extra tariff on any country aligning with BRICS, that's Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. Interestingly, President Bola Tinubu just attended BRICS meeting in Brazil. Whilst it is trying to checkmate, the U.S. trying to checkmate what they perceive as anti-American policies, the sense is that these countries and the global South should not capitulate. And Kechi, if you can come in here, it's about interest protection for every region and every country.
Definitely, and I think the message that Donald Trump is trying to send is that, look, if your country dares to seek any sort of alternatives besides the West, there's going to be a price to pay, which is why he's now bringing this extra 10%. And I think for Nigeria, we might think Nigeria exports to the U.S. may not be vast in quantity, but it's vital. At least you have 90% of those exports being crude oil, but the other 10%, fertilizers, agricultural produce, small-scale manufacturing, and in a time where we're trying to diversify, it's really important. And I agree with what you say. At this point in time, it's important for countries to come together to see what they can do within their own region, which is why you now have the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement, which has just come into effect. And it's important. And I think even President Tinubu was talking about the global governance structure and how we can change that and help to impact our own regional and intra-Africa trade, and also see what we can do with the South-South.
Yeah, let's go to the next story, The Punch. Yolanda, I would like to bring you in here. The U.S. Embassy begins screening Nigerian students' social media accounts. The U.S. mission in Nigeria has announced that all applicants for FM and J non-immigrant visas will now adjust their social media accounts to a public setting, and this will be used for vetting, and this is announced as effective immediately. It's new but interesting to know, or it will be interesting to know if this applies to other students around the world. So whatever you put on social media now will be screened.
Yes, I think this is a very good opportunity for people to really stand up and be very deliberate with what they put out on social media. You know, the word student is not what it would be in earlier years. Now you have students that are 35, 40 years old. You have adult learners. So this pretty much applies to everybody. As long as you're applying for a student visa, then you would be a student at whatever age you are. So it really is, you know, a wake-up call for people to sit up and say, okay, what am I putting out there? What am I putting on the internet? Could this get me into trouble? I think last week, or is it the week before, we had an incident where someone put up some, some insinuation of having had relations with a minor, and it spiraled into something else through social media. So this is the power of social media, and you really need to be careful. So now with the US Embassy beginning this effective immediately, really, this is a wake-up call. But at the same time, many other topics can be brought up, privacy, ethics discussions, this brings questions of privacy. Does this infringe on people's freedom of expression? A lot to be explored.
A lot to be explored indeed, Yolanda. Let's see Daily Trust. I will just see a couple of headlines. 23 months after, queues persist at CNG dispersing points, and 7 vigilantes feared killed in a bandit ambush in Plateau. Then on to Daily Sun this morning. We have the story on Enugu Air, again with a photo. Then Senate, showdown looms as Natasha vows to resume. Then onto the international headlines, Daily Graphic. First indigenous large-scale mine ownership, EMP secures $100 million loan for major mining deal. This was secured from the ECOWAS Bank for Investment and Development towards the acquisition of the Blackwater Gold Project. Again, Yolanda, African institutions funding African development, we surely want to see more of this. Afro-Exim Bank did a lot of this under the leadership of Professor Benedict Orama.
Absolutely wonderful initiative, putting power and money back into the hands of our local people. I think the securing of 100 million for, indigenous mining partnerships opens so many opportunities for locals to expand. In previous months, Dr. Constance, we've been having all these talks about this illegal mining that is being done in Ghana. I believe they call it galamsey excavating, where the Chinese were coming in and people from different nations taking the minerals, So this is really a step in the right direction, and I look forward to more positive results.
Yeah, we have so many stories on the international headlines. Let's see which one to go to next. Here, Daily Mirror. Let's take Daily Mirror. Trump team closes file. Victims' fury as Epstein probe shut down. Prince Andrew no longer under investigation after FBI review. That's a photo of Andrew and Epstein there. The Sun newspaper also carries it. It leads with Epstein case bombshell. Air Miles undeclared for takeoff, free to fly as FBI ends probe into pedo tycoon links. Anyone can jump in here. Is it surprising at all that this is going this way? The profiles of people mentioned in that Epstein case and scandal is really up there.
I don't know about surprising, but it's a bit weird because this memo makes 3 points. No foul play in Epstein's death, no client list, no grounds to investigate the so-called uncharged third parties, of course includes Prince Andrew. But this announcement, even though it may close the legal chapter, opens up another fresh discussion because think about it. There was this public posturing. We had Pam Bundy once saying that, look, the Epstein client list was on her desk. They were going to release it. And then it turns out there's nothing. No list, no prosecutions. It's a bit weird. I think it just opens up a can of worms.
And don't forget, there were also photographs. There were photographs implicating him, implicating many other people. And this is not evidence that you can just dispute and push aside. And it also begs, to ask the questions, is the justice system really doing the most that they can? Don't forget the accusation of Elon Musk concerning Donald Trump being involved in the Epstein files. There's Charles, sorry, it seemed you wanted to say something.
You're on point because that's what's on my mind. There seems to be that kind of connection. When Elon Musk mentioned that President Trump was on that Epstein list, then apparently it's playing out exactly how I suspected it would be. the thing has been made to disappear, and everybody comes out as clean
All
as
right,
a whistle,
Charles.
including Prince Andrew.
Right.
Yeah, unfortunately, we've run out of time, but thank you all for contributing. Doyum Nazinga, who is the head Abuja Bureau Chief, head of Northern Operations of the Daily Times, thanks for joining us.
Dr. Constance Ikoku joining us from our Lagos studio. Thank you so much. You didn't give me the memo when I ran into you this weekend. But
Don't worry, we'll talk about it.
good to have you here with us again. That's all the time we have for you here on Daybreak. Thanks for watching. I am Nkechi Nana.
I'm Charles Eruka. Goodbye from me.
And I'm Yolanda Robert. Please do keep it here on Arise News. The morning show is next. Bye-bye.